Well, good evening and welcome to our show. We're so glad to have you with us this evening. I have two special guests that I've had on our previous shows, and they are so informative. I wanted to have them back to bring you up to date on what's going on in the area of transportation. They have all the information, no need in me trying to repeat what they already know and what they wanted to bring to you. So today I have Susan Holecheck and Albert Bass, and they're going to be talking in the first session about VetTrans and veteran transportation, telling us what that's all about. And then in the next session, they're going to tell us about the latest things in the local bus transportation. We want to hear about that as well. But I know our veterans are out there chomping at the bit, and they're waiting to hear more and more about what's available for them. So, Susan, welcome to the show.
Oh,
Albert,
thank you. We're so glad
welcome
to be back.
again to the show.
Thank you.
And this evening we have a lot to talk about. So we're going to start with VetTrans. And what is VetTrans?
It's actually a reality. It's a bus that's dedicated to transporting veterans at no cost to all of their non-VA medical appointments and pharmaceutical appointments.
Why non-VA?
Well, because DAV is so helpful in transporting veterans, but they're really limited into sites that they can take veterans. It really has to be like the VA clinic. And
okay.
So, having this bus sort of dedicated to these other endeavors just opens it up. Also, too, and I think Albert would agree, we also can transport veterans who are using oxygen, and I don't believe DAV can do that.
Okay.
And then our bus, our VetTrans bus, is handicap accessible. So it's got a lift. So if someone is incapacitated or has to use a wheelchair, it's still a go. They can get on the bus and we can take them where they need to go.
Well, you mentioned wheelchairs. Say you have 3 or 4 veterans with wheelchairs. Can you handle all of them at one time?
I think we do 3 or 4, don't we?
Well, actually, the bus is currently set up to handle 3 as long as they are not the larger chairs. It could do 2 of the larger chairs. It could accommodate 3 of the smaller chairs. But in scheduling, that's one of the things that we'll have to look at and make sure that we're not putting too much of a burden on the driver of the bus, for one, who's got to strap and unstrap these chairs as they're being put into the bus and taken out of the bus, but also to make sure that everyone could fit in comfortably and safely.
So after you get the wheelchairs in, do you have any seats for the people to sit down?
Yeah, there are 10 additional seats outside of the wheelchair capacity of the bus, and that's what makes this paratransit style bus so perfect for this type of service, because it can accommodate the wheelchair passengers or handicapped passengers as well as ambulatory passengers.
Okay.
And their caregivers, right, or their spouse or friend that are accompanying them usually to an appointment. So yes, it's wonderful. Those caregivers or accompanying family members will also be able to ride free. And we're hoping that, you know, the transportation system's not been going on very long. We're kind of new. So we're anxious to get some feedback from our veterans in the future saying, how are we doing, and you know, any problems they've experienced. So.
And this started on the 6th, is that correct?
Right. This week, transportation actually became available. However, we found from the time we set up the phone last week to where calls were made available to come in to schedule rides, we just learned on Monday that there were some issues with the phone company and how that was set up. So calls were not coming through to the phone as they were supposed to. Messages were not getting into the email system if messages were left the way they were supposed to. So finally, we figured all this out was happening on Monday afternoon of this week. So anyone that has called, and there were 26 calls logged into the phone line, so those were potentially missed riders. And so we weren't getting those messages and getting those calls. So now, as of Monday afternoon, the phone lines are working, the email system's working, the voicemail system is all working correctly. So we want to make sure that, you know, with all that working now, since the 6th, that we're ready to go and people can call and schedule their ride.
Okay, and that's since the 6th of June, and that was
a few weeks ago.
He says Monday, but yes, it was
a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah. Oh, so it's the way it goes. Yeah. But at least they know it started the 6th of June.
Right, correct.
Okay, real good. And hopefully with that, the veterans are out there, they have the number. And I know we've shown it on the screen already, but if they have any questions about it, they can call that number, correct?
Correct.
And it's really important for them to register. When they call in the first time, they're going to be taking a lot of information so that they don't have to go through that process every single time they call in. So we really are trying to get some shortcuts going.
Okay.
So.
And it's also very important to mention that when anyone calls in to the Vetrans number, the 775-572-8387, that they dial the whole number. They do need to include the area code of 775. So please make sure when you're calling in, you start with the 775 and then the 572-8387.
And the reason why he's saying that is they're going into a cell phone. They're not going into a landline. And people may not think, I don't need the area code because I'm calling a landline.
Right. And we needed the accessibility of what we can do through setting the phone up this way. It tracks our calls, it gets our calls into voicemail systems, it does a lot of things we can't do if that were going to just a local landline. And so it gives us a lot more room to grow the program and to accommodate different aspects on the backside of the program that we could not do if we just had a standard local landline.
Flexibility is the key, and that's what veterans are all about.
Yeah.
That's right.
I like the number too, 775-572-VETS, V-E-T-S, which is also 8387. So if you have any questions about what's going on with VetTrans, you can call that number, get information, or make a reservation. And
I'd like to remind the veterans too, I know that we're starting the program, and so you hear us keep saying that we want to take you to your non-VA appointments, medical appointments, or pharmaceutical. But please understand that, and we've said this before, there is flexibility. Again, we talk about that flexibility built in. So if you register a call to CVS and then you go down the street to Albertsons or Walmart or whatever to do some grocery shopping, that's fine because we track it as just going to a pharmaceutical appointment. So it really, again, lets the veterans accomplish a lot more on a ride than just, say straight to a drugstore.
so when you drop them off, I'm going to say at CVS, and they decide to go over to one of the stores, buy whatever they want, they go back to CVS for pickup.
Right.
And you could care less where they've been in the meantime.
Right, or how long they've been in there.
Okay.
We don't track how long somebody's in someplace. So.
This is a fantastic opportunity for our veterans.
Right, it's been a long time coming, and we have a vast number of veterans here in just the Pahrump Valley who could utilize the service. So we're doing all we can right now to make sure we get the message out, and through various meetings, media, television, and the Facebook has been really exploding with the VetTrans flyer that you've seen there on the screen. That's been passed out through the NYCC.
Okay.
And that'll be coming up on the radio. Listen to 95.1. You should hear the commercial on the radio as well. So keep your eyes and ears open and make sure to pass the word around to all the veterans.
So for medical and pharmaceutical appointments.
And I do want to stress again, too, we ask for 24-hour notice or more. And people may say, well, why do I have to give 24-hour notice? We only have one bus right now that's dedicated for this service. And so the more notice you give us, really, the better we can schedule those pickups, drop-offs, and all of that. So I know it's frustrating sometimes for people because they sometimes say, well, I want to go now. But we really need the advance notice. So.
Okay, so what time should they call in?
Anyone can call Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. You would call and contact Sandy, and she would take your information in and get you registered in the system and schedule your ride. You can call after those hours or before those hours, but you might get the voicemail, so please be sure to leave a message so that as early as possible on that very same day we can give you a call back, because we want to make sure that we contact everyone who needs a ride to get them in the system. And as she alluded to, for the 24-hour notice, there may be somebody who is taken to the doctor by a friend or family member, a veteran, but does not have a ride home that day for some reason. Maybe their car broke down. Maybe they're going to be another hour out. Well, they can always call the program to say, I'm at this medical facility. I could use a ride home if you're available. If the bus is available and our schedule permits, we have no problem in sending the driver over there to pick that veteran up to take him home. Even though it wasn't 24-hour notice. Right. We want to be flexible. The goal is to accommodate and provide service to our veterans. So we want to make sure that we do the best we can to make that happen.
How many days a week will this bus be running?
Currently, the bus operates on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Right. But again, you can call Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. But the actual transit hours of the bus is Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 9 to 3. If we have enough demand for additional hours or additional days, as we track this, we will expand those hours and days to make sure that we could accommodate it.
Or even change the days in their entirety. I mean, as we monitor this, we may determine that Monday, Wednesday, and Friday are better days than Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Again, that word flexibility. With something new like this, you can really tailor it to the needs of the veterans. That's why we want the input. We want them to contact us and say, you know, is it working for you? Do you have suggestions for us? I mean, I'm really glad that Albert and I have had the good luck to work with DAV, and they have given us a lot of great suggestions and thoughts so that we can make this a comprehensive program.
And in actuality, you've worked with all the veteran organizations.
We have.
Well, DAV handles the other buses, so I know that's why you work with them, but you've also worked with the VFW to make sure they're included.
Yeah, we wanted to include all the veteran service organizations to have their input in creating and designing the program, because those people are on the front lines of the vets, and they know the issues more than we do. They know what's happening, and they know what their needs are. And for someone like yourself, who's been a great resource for the program, all that information has been taken in to developing the program.
I know you've also worked with the Marine Corps League, American Legion as well. So veterans, you need to take advantage of this program. It's there for you. And they do need your feedback to see exactly what else do we need? What do we need to make this program better? Or is it already the outstanding program that we think it is? But we won't know for sure until they hear from you. So don't hesitate to make the call, 775-572-VETS, and let them know what you think of the program.
We need more buses.
Yeah, more buses and more funding would be fantastic.
Yes.
I'm sure you can always use that.
Yeah.
Look, in closing this session, I just want to say I really thank Susan and Albert for coming in today and for giving us so much information on what's going on with the VetTrans program. This is a new program starting in Pahrump. The area that they can travel, and we didn't say it, but it is only Pahrump, not to Las Vegas or anywhere else. Right now, it's only Pahrump. So call in, let them know if it's working for you. Thank you.